Hey everyone, I'm Jeff Bakalar, and today we're talking about Battlefield Hardline. It's the latest installment in the first-person shooter series from Visceral Games and EA. Now, Hardline moves the action away from the battlefield and brings it to the streets. It's a campaign that plays more like a cable TV cop drama, but its acclaimed multiplayer mode remains intact. To get another opinion on Battlefield Hardline, I'm joined by the host and producer from GameSpot, Mr. Chris Waters. Thanks for joining me, sir.
My pleasure, Jeff. How's it going, buddy?
It's going real well. I've been told by our friends here at CBS Interactive that you are a Battlefield veteran. Is that true? And if it is true, what do you think about the newest entry, Battlefield Hardline?
Yeah, it's true. I've played probably more hours than I'd care to admit of the Battlefield series over the years. The Hardline is a fun one. It's interesting because it's a real big scion. It's a split off of the series because the single player campaign is a cop drama, and the multiplayer it feels kind of familiar, but you're cops and robbers. You're not soldiers. And even in previous sort of dalliances away from the main military thrust of Battlefield, it was always military. Now it's like a civilian?
Yeah, it's weird. And not only is it not really on a battlefield anymore, it's also very stealthy, right? There's parts of Battlefield that aren't shootery at all. I'm sitting down to play a first-person shooter, and I'm kind of first-person sneaking.
You totally are. Yeah, because you're in the main campaign, you play a cop, and you're like on the straight and narrow, so you don't just want to go around popping dudes' heads off, although you totally can. But the game really encourages you to sneak, to like wait until dudes are alone, then flash the badge, then they'll put their hands up, you can arrest them, you get bonus points, and you don't trigger any alarms, people don't start shooting at you. And yeah, I mean, even from like a basic gameplay mechanic, they have the vision cones, which is like a very stealth game thing to do.
Right. I never understand how anyone can like put that into a map, vision cones, but we won't split hairs there. And you're right. So part of the game is you flash your badge and you can sort of juggle 3 criminals at once. As long as you keep your gun trained on their face, they won't go for their gun.
It always makes me feel like the rookie cop who's freaking out, like comes up to the seasoned bad guys and he's like, "Freeze! Don't, nobody move! Like, I'm arresting all of you!" Like, it has this kind of desperate feel to it, which is kind of neat that they've captured it. I mean, it's also pretty silly in some ways because you're with your partner and sometimes your partner will just be walking by and the guys don't detect her when she's running and they're only going to be detected by you. But, you know, the sort of these weird stealth flaws aside, it is kind of refreshing. What did you think of the sort of like overall like cop drama, like the characters and the pace? Like, did the story like interest you?
It did more so than any other Battlefield game I'd played before, probably any shooter, whether it be Call of Duty or anything like that. It felt like it was just enough for me to care and to not skip ahead all the cutscenes and just be like, all right, this will do. This wouldn't do if I were watching The Shield or you know, a show on FX or something like that. But this is just enough. And I mean, it's funny.
There's a box quote for you.
Yeah.
Just enough for me to care.
Hey, Battlefield Hardline, just enough story. They got Benito Martinez from The Shield, and he was in Sons of Anarchy too. He's in the game, so that made me suspend my disbelief a little more, like I cared just what was going on in the game in terms of the cop drama. It feels a little cheesy. Some of the stuff is, you know, really low-hanging fruit, but it was, like I said, just enough.
And I think the presentation also pushes it a little bit towards that just enough state, you know, the way it's like episode by episode, and you get a previously on and whenever you start it up, and a next on whenever you quit the campaign. And when you finish an episode, it has this like totally Netflix-esque like next episode coming up in 20 seconds. So it just really primes you to have that kind of TV watching mentality, which I think, you know, sort of subverts kind of what expectations you're going to have coming to a Battlefield campaign.
Let's switch gears to online play. Battlefield's hasn't done so well online last couple of times. I guess that's an understatement.
It's been a little rocky at launch for some of the Battlefield games in recent memory, that's for sure. But I mean, I've been traveling this week, but from all Twitter indications, Reddit indications, Hardline's multiplayer has launched smoothly for the first week. We'll see what happens this weekend when, everyone who was working or at school gets to like just settle in and play a bunch. But so far, it's looking good.
Yeah, that'll be a true test of whether or not they can handle it. But man, isn't it weird that we're just satisfied it works, right? That's kind of strange.
It works.
It works.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you pass. What about anything new in the multiplayer modes? Is there anything that's really grabbed your attention?
Well, yeah. So like the thing about Battlefield multiplayer is, well, especially in Hardline, is like the core stuff that I've always really loved about Battlefield is still there. The way that you can play different classes of soldier. And you've got different stuff you can do besides just shooting dudes faster than they can shoot you. You can heal or revive your teammates. You can repair your cars. You can put down spawn beacons. You can, do all this different stuff that helps you contribute to the fight without making you actually have to fight. So it feels like a diverse kind of action scene, and I really like that.
For sure. I'm a guy who, I got pretty good at Call of Duty Online, but whenever I try my hand at Battlefield, I just get my face punched in. It's just not a pleasurable experience. To know that I could somehow help the cause in a different capacity, maybe by,
I mean, I think that for me, I've never, I love playing games, but I'm not like an ace Twitch shooter guy. Yeah. Like, I love playing shooters, and, there are kids that will light me up all day, every day. But like one of the new modes for Hardline, which I think is a really neat twist on past Hardline or Battlefield modes, is called Hotwire. And in this, there are 5 cars on the map. You have to hijack the car and drive it at speed around the map in order to gain points for holding that car. So it's like Conquest, which was like, grab this space, defend this one space, but it's more kinetic, it's more dynamic. So there's no like, well, I cleared the enemies out of this zone. Now I'm just going to wait here until more show up. People don't really do that. They like to run around. And so getting in a car, and then you could get in a van, and then your buddy joins and he opens the side sliding door and he's waiting there to blast someone. The guy in the front seat is using the blowtorch to repair your broken windshield. And then you have dudes hanging out the back shooting grenades at anyone who's following you. It's really fun.
Why? What is with the blowtorch repairing a windshield or a flat tire?
The blowtorch, it solves everything. It's science.
Don't ask a flat tire. You're gonna melt the tire more. Don't blowtorch it. They did that in Far Cry 4 also. That was ridiculous. I don't understand that.
Yeah, what do you want? You want some wrenches, like a little screw gun? I don't know.
I want one dude with a tool belt or some sort of AAA guy. I don't know. My expectations are being underachieved with this whole blowtorch thing. I don't know.
Fair enough. But you can kill people with a blowtorch, so that's kind of fun.
Yeah, I've seen some videos of that. That's pretty impressive stuff. Chris Waters, thank you so much for joining me. Really appreciate getting your take on Battlefield Hardline. Where can people follow you on Twitter?
I'm on Twitter at CT Waters with 2 T's, so that's CTWATTERS. Thanks for having me, Jeff.
All right, there you have it. There's my take. There's Chris's take. Make sure you read the review. There's our coverage on CNET, and then read the review on GameSpot. Go follow Chris. Follow me at Jeff Bakalar. Let me know what you thought of the game. That's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching.